Welcome to the SpongeCast, Investor Meets Director. As an activist investor, I like to chat to the companies that I invest in addition to producing various research notes, as you'll see on my website, SpongeShare.com. Please note I may hold a position in the companies mentioned and I'm not offering investment advice. And today I'm joined by Goldstone Resources CEO Emma Priestley. Welcome, Emma.
Thank you, Darren. Very nice to meet you over the Skype.
Yes, indeed. Okay, so before we step into a few questions, which I've put together, could you just give us a quick summary of Goldstone?
I certainly can. Well, Goldstone, we're in a lovely country called Ghana, which is very pro-mining. And we're also fortunate that this COVID-19 pandemic hasn't hindered our development plans, which of course has been the burden to a lot of companies. We are right back next door to Obuasi, which is AngloGold Ashanti's major property that is hosting 36 million ounces at 8 grams a ton. So our two properties, our two historic mines, we've got Akrikari and Hamasi, are along strike and are sitting about, one property is sitting about 10 kilometres, the other one sitting about 15 kilometres along strike from Obuasi. And we've pushed through. The company's obviously been through a lot of changes this past few years, but we've pushed through, and with my supportive shareholders and supportive board, we are now in the development stage for bringing the Hamasi project into production. So that's just a quick snapshot of what the company is.
Excellent, thanks. So actually on that subject of Hamasi, you put out an update last week. The plan is to start production there this year, producing around 14,500 ounces of gold per annum. What are the remaining steps to achieve that milestone and actually get into production by the end of the year?
The last major milestone is getting the environmental permit. For which we actually started the application for that, but to be honest, before the pandemic broke out, and then everything obviously ground to a halt in Ghana. So Ghana was shut down for 8 weeks, and then it took a little while for Ghana to warm up. But we're on track. We are hoping to have that in the coming weeks. And look, if you look at all the mining companies in Ghana and look at the history of the environmental permits, once you get through to the second round of the gazetting, which is what we've just completed, there haven't been any refused. So it is a matter of a couple of weeks coming up before we get that. Then once we've got that environmental permit, that does permit us then to start moving ground, so we can start and lay the foundations for the heap leach pads and the removal of the topsoils for the pit, because all the operating permits we can apply for as we're going along. We've got so many weeks to apply for those. You know, it's like going to the office for your tax list just for renewal. But the Minerals Commission and the environmental authorities are obviously extremely supportive, because we've got a government that can't wait for us to get in production, because they get their 10% and the royalties.
Yeah.
So the next major milestone is the environmental permit. Once that's through, we can start the major works. And then we can get on with the operational permitting and start to make some progress on the Hamasi pit.
Great stuff. So yeah, I saw in that update also that you managed to reduce the Capex down to 3 million from 6 million. And obviously using the latest gold prices, you've got a nice uplift in the IRR to 382%. Obviously, this is for the phase 1 project, but that's a pretty impressive uplift, and obviously reflects what's happened with gold recently. How did you reduce the Capex down?
What we did on reducing the Capex, look, we were raising money originally leading up to Christmas, when the market was when the world was a different place, and the market wasn't that interested in Goldstone. Well, many companies in this space. So my chairman, Bill, and I, we sat down and we said, right, what do we need to do to get into production? So look, Bill, and his background. I know you've commented on Bill before, but look, Bill can put 30 gold mines and bringing them into production and commissioning the plants around the world. So he knows a thing or two about bringing gold mines into production. And he said, look, Emma, he said the biggest expense is the electrowinning and the regeneration and the gold room to produce the doré bar. And he said, look, we can reduce our costs dramatically by not building those yet. He said, let's just get the production through to the carbon and solution columns, so that we get a loaded carbon that'll be loaded with the gold concentrate. And he said that we can then toll treat. So we were able to reduce that 6.9 capex down to 3 million to bring this mine into production, because the 3 million then will cover obviously the cost of bringing the mine into production. And it'll just be the simple process plant, which is just the grizzly, and the crushing, the agglomeration, and the construction of the heap leach pads. Then we have the carbon and solution tanks, or the columns, and we can toll treat the product from there. So that was the main contributor to the reduction in capex. Then look, we do want to build our own gold room, and that will come out of cash flow as we proceed over the forthcoming months.
Yeah, and presumably, you will want to build the gold room, because notwithstanding the phase 1 project, you've got the actual scope of Hamassi itself anyway. Yeah, okay.
We do, Darren, and it's look, I mean, Hamassi, we've got the other pits that will be coming on stream as well, and then obviously there is the long term where Hamassi will ultimately be an underground mine.
Yeah, so you've got 600,000 ounces in the JORC that was originally done, but I know you've done some other further drilling, trenching work. So do we expect that resource to be increasing from here?
Yes. What we're doing with this next phase of drilling on the Hamassi South Pit is to increase the mineable resource. Because remember, we're just keeping it as a mineable resource. It's not a complicated ore where we're at.
Yeah.
For the Hamassi South Pit, and what we'll be doing is we'll be taking this down from 30 meters and we're looking to take it down to 60 meters. So this drilling will obviously just lost my train of thought there. Sorry. This drilling will I've got to be honest with you. Somebody just brought me a cup of tea in. Sorry about that.
Yeah, well, it'll increase the resource, presumably.
It is going to increase that mineable resource, and that's what we're focusing on. From there, look, we will obviously want to push out the drilling along the trend to increase the resources along the next two pits, the Hamassi North and Hamassi Central, and then ultimately we'll be doing the deep drilling to obviously open up this ore body, because it is left open at depth. And if you look at some of the older RNSs, and obviously even in the current presentation, which will be updated soon, you'll see that down below where the resource finishes off about 200 to 250 meters, it's all open at depth at 11 grams a ton, 16 grams a ton, 8 grams a ton. So we know we're in the gold.
Yeah, I saw some of that data and saw grades potentially up to 18 grams a ton as well. So I think that was the thing that perked my interest up in the RNS the other day, was that you said you're going to get on with some drilling, which is great, because what better position to be in than coming into production, but also given the current interest in gold, to be drilling as well is going to perk up some interest from the market. So can't wait for that. That's going to start imminently, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It is. The drilling company can be mobilised within 10 days. So as soon as we get them there, they'll be starting. And the ground where we are, look, anybody looking, they'll think, oh, it's the wet season. But the ground where we are, it won't affect the where we're going to be putting the drill pads and where the pit's going. So we can get on with that imminently, and then look to some good news coming out.
Great. I look forward to seeing some results coming through there. So on to Akrikeri. So this one could be a bit of a monster, couldn't it? I mean, it's I know it was shut in 1909 after you had an ingress of water,
Mm,
or they did.
they did. It wasn't me. I wasn't around.
Yeah. No, I'm sure you haven't been around that long, but um, and this is the one that is also of high interest because it's the board believe from what I've read that the mined head grade could be in excess of 24 grams a ton, and that the company have also identified high grade quartz veins up to 54 grams a ton. So these are
Yeah,
huge grades. So what are you planning there?
I'm going to correct that. It was 51 grams a ton. I know it's 3, but look, the mine it was abandoned in 1909. The old timers got caught out by an inrush of water. Look, in today's technology, we've got pumps that can manage with that, and we look forward to getting in there. Look, it is an old underground mine. And there is obviously it's on the outskirts of the town of Akracari. We have accessed it. We have been down there, but look, the ground isn't great. And what we're wanting to do now is look to get a drilling program going on down there that will formalise the drilling that has already been done. I mean, we've already had two campaigns from two previous owners, which was Pan African and Birim Gold in the 90s and the early 2000s. And they're 24. They drilled 24 diamond drill holes. We've got the data of. I think you'll note one of the previous RNSs that when Pan African had it, they abandoned the drill program overnight when they got awarded Evander and Barberton in South Africa all those years ago. So the company's dynamics changed overnight, and Goldstone was fortunate to been in the right place at the right time to acquire this license, which they did. Now, when we got there, the core was missing. We found the core, we've reassayed it, and that's when we've confirmed all the results that had been put out before, and we discovered the 51 grams a ton over a couple of meters, and we've got other significant finds of 11 grams a ton over 10 meters. So there is some interesting gold there. We've also got the support there, the wonderful artisanal miners, or the illegal mining, whichever one you want to call it, over the past few years, and they've had some good results out. So we know the gold is there. So what we want to do next is get some drilling done on this property as well, so that we know then that in conjunction with accessing one of these shafts and getting into the old workings, we'll be ready to get going. We have to be mindful that it might not be that good down there. It's been over 100 years when we actually get down and drain the water. So we might be looking for other accesses into this ore body. So, but again, we've got good support there from the Minerals Commission, who are asking us, all the time, how can they help? Because we'd all like to see a mine of that caliber coming into production again.
So would some of this be classified as exploration? Is it? Are you
yes.
Stuff you're? Yeah. Okay. Fine. So it really is a case of like you could you throw a few drills in and you could start hitting some interesting results.
Yes. And then we just have to plan then how we access the old mine, as I've said.
And this one's obviously closer to the Boosie mine as well, isn't it? So that's operating today, isn't it?
That is all up and running. Yes, Anglo managed to get the doors open on that late last year, and they're up and running, which is great news for us, because to have a major mine like that operational, it means that services start improving, access to equipment, and anything from fuel and all the rest. It just eases the pain of getting into production.
Cool. And now you touched on Bill earlier. This is one of the main things that attracted me to Goldstone when I started looking at it. Was not personally, but the two key shareholders, like what their significance of holding, plus Parasale and BCM, and obviously their footprints in the gold sector and their previous successes. So I mean, it's great to have two supportive shareholders like that.
It is. I am very fortunate, and they are good. In fact, they're better than good. They're great. So look, no, to have Bill and the intelligence that Bill brings with him, with not just himself but also the teams that he's put in place and that's global. That's not just in Africa. That's also in former Soviet Union countries and Philippines. So he's seen quite a bit, and he knows how to put a plant together, and he knows how to put a mine into production, and that's what we're going to be doing with Hamasi, and then we'll be doing it with Akrikari.
Excellent.
Mm.
Great. So, I mean, that all sounds great. And one thing I like to be mindful is sort of risk. What risks would you see for investors that they should potentially be aware of? I mean, one of the key risks in junior mining companies is funding, actually, which you've explained what you're going to be doing there and using early cash flows to build out. So that's great. What about Ghana itself? Is it a safe jurisdiction? Are you happy with that?
Ghana is a safe jurisdiction, and look, if you go on to Ghana Web, you can have a look there that the government has just awarded a further 14 mining licenses.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a very pro mining. Ghana's been blessed because they've got a history of over 250 years of mining and agriculture with the cocoa. So they're very business minded. They're very pro. And they're very supportive of foreign investment. So they like to. I have to say, and I've worked in a few other African countries, as has Bill, but the Ghanaians are extremely supportive for helping us get this into production. The risks. The big risk, obviously, will be COVID. That's the biggest risk, but that's going to affect everybody, not just Ghana and not just Goldstone. So we just have to be mindful of that. And as I said, look, if the country closes down, I'm fortunate. I've got a great team on site, so we can keep things going. And Ghana actually classed mining as one of the important industries in the country, so it kept them all going. It didn't close them down like South Africa did. So so we've got that to look for. And we've been through one lockdown, and if we do get another one, hopefully not. And I think Ghana will be well versed into how we manage it and keeping the mine and development moving.
Okay.
So I'm not going to say there's no risk. I mean, there is always a risk. But no. Look, if we were in some of the other jurisdictions, I don't really want to name them, but yes, there might be greater risk. But
I can think of a few. Yeah.
Exactly. But no, Ghana is one of the darlings of Africa for bringing a mine into production.
Okie dokie, good. Okay, so it looks like we're entering a transformational period for Goldstone after maybe more of a quiet period. Things seem to be coming together now. What can investors, especially with the backdrop of the gold market, what can investors expect, news flow wise coming up for the rest of the year and, into next year? News
flow, it's going to be getting Hamasi into production, increasing the resource, opening up of Akrikari, and just building on this story. Will we look at other things? Will we remain a one project company? Well, no, we're going to end up with two operations within the current licenses that we've got, and who knows what else we look for within Africa, within the boundaries of the country as well. So companies like us, and you've only got to look at what Bill's done in the past, follow his track record, and also myself in companies that I've been involved in the past of building them up from a one project into larger companies. So, but over the immediate, it's just focusing on getting Hamasi into production and getting that news flow associated with it.
And obviously, of all the drilling news as well will be coming.
It will.
Yeah. Okay. So that's great. What's the company's aspiration? So are you looking to become a multi-million ounce gold producing company that grows to something like a mid-tier level, or do you have some sort of like exit plan given the swathe of M&A we've seen? There's a Chinese company, Shandong. They seem to have been buying up gold assets, some in Canada, and actually notably one in Ghana as well.
Yes.
So what's your thoughts on that then?
Well, obviously, we'd like to build it into a good old-fashioned multi-million ounce company, mid-tier producer. But on anything like that, look, if the price is right, of course, everybody's got their price. So on that one, we'd have to watch this space. But for the moment, no, let's build this company and make Goldstone into something more meaningful.
Okay. All right. Well, then I think to sort of finally, if you could just summarise why investors should be looking at Goldstone.
Well, postcode is the key one, and the board, and the short term of getting into production and getting some cash flow in this company and making it a good story on the stock market.
Yeah, and reinvesting that cash in, I suppose, into further expansion and working up the assets.
Yes, exactly.
Excellent. Okay. Right. Well, I think that's a very, very good update. Thank you, Emma. Great stuff. And I'll look forward to catching up with you again, hopefully, if you'd like to come back as the projects progress.
I certainly would. Perhaps as soon as we've got that environmental permit, we can have another catch up.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Lovely.
Well, thanks, Emma.
Thank you very much, Darren. It's a pleasure talking to you.